This conference will now be recorded.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone, and we've got housekeeping for a few minutes here. Swearing in we addressed, right? Yeah, the swearing in of the elected officials will be around 9 because the judge is getting sworn in herself at this time.
Mr. Chairman, if I could add, Tim Hodson will be down here to talk to you about a vehicle purchase. The vehicle we planned to purchase in 2022 is now available, but of course now we're in 2023.
Point of order. I'll make a motion to, let's have a chairman before we get too much business. I'll make a motion to nominate Bob Ewing as chairman.
Second. Okay, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
I guess that's done.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to elect Brandon Flanagan as vice chair.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on Brandon as vice chair. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
All right. Approve the agenda.
I'm ready for my drawer. No, sorry, Mr. Outside.
Fair point. So again, Mr. Chairman, one addition that I would add would be to add Tim Hodson, discussion about a vehicle purchase in 2023. I should also note too that this morning I received word from Erica Douglas, who had made an application to be on 2 boards. I think it was invasive species and the fair board. She has withdrawn her name.
Where would you like Tim put on the agenda?
If we could squeeze him in early on in your meeting before, perhaps after personnel and bills, he can go on his way.
Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Any conflicts, Randy?
Nothing to know.
Okay. Next order is to adopt our Robert's Rules of Order and Special Rule of Order.
So moved.
Second. Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, minutes. What's your pleasure on the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the most outstanding minutes we've had since 2022.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second on the minutes. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Bills.
I had mine answered.
Move to approve the bills as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the bills. Any further discussion on it? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Travel request. Anything, Brenda?
I have mentioned.
Go on to personnel.
Mr. Chairman, if I may,
Go ahead, Randy.
I would move to approve the cell phone and per diem for Debbie Sargent and Melody Nelson.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the cell phone per diem. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I
Motion carried.
I would move to approve the classification changes for Robin Lutero, Janet Springler, and Barbara Baker. Oh, that's a step raise. Just, yeah, 3 step raises, excuse me.
Okay, so step raises.
Step raises for Janet and Robin.
Robin is a classification.
Okay. 2 step raises, Barbara and Janet. I'll get it right.
Yeah.
And Mike Meehan.
Mike's not in there.
Oh, he's not? Okay, never
Oh, yeah,
mind.
yeah.
Just the
never
2.
mind. He's a classification.
Just the 2. Just a 2 step raise.
I'll second the 2-step raise.
Okay.
Trying to be efficient here.
I'll raise your classification.
Motion in a second. Is there any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Mr. Chairman, now that I have you totally confused, classification changes, I move to approve for Robin Machero, Mike Meehan, Carmen Simons, Crystal Stulken, Megan Schmidt, and Kimberly Atkins. Did I get them all?
No, you need Debbie Sargent,
And Debbie Sargent.
Kimberly Atkins,
Yep.
and Carmen Simon.
Got that one already, yep.
Okay.
Louise Hahn.
Louise.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
And then the last one we have, Chairman, is a emergency hire in the sheriff's office for Kendall Sheen. It was effective December 27th, 2022 as a correction officer 1, grade 1, base pay 2022, and this will be our full-time permanent employee.
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion in a second. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would also make the motion to include the allowance for assignment of work at a higher classification.
Second.
Okay, motion in a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
I think we agree to do that every year.
Yeah, Bruce, Hintz, Department of Legislative Audit has asked us to do that.
Chairman,
Okay.
while we transition, can we address Tim Hodson's matter?
We can. Where is Tim?
Tim?
Come on up, sir.
Tim, I was explaining to the commission, I think that you found out that the vehicle you were looking to get from state bid is now available, but the money that you had budgeted for 2022 obviously has not automatically rolled over into 2023. So you would like permission to purchase the vehicle as soon as possible, knowing that you probably would need to have some budget at some point.
Correct. Yeah, I had a budget for order in March, I believe, and it showed up on December the 28th, which is after we had shut down. So yeah, just the money's still there in the account, so I'm just basically asking for the supplement for next year to pay for it.
Okay. What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
No, yes.
With motion to approve, I'll second it. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
No, Mr. Sleep.
One follow-up question, Mr. Chairman. So Brenda, before Tim purchases the vehicle, do we have to do the notice and have a supplemental budget hearing?
Yes. Do you know,
I'll get the final.
get the
numbers.
final number and then I'll set that and then we'll get the bill and then get it taken care
Yep,
of.
yes.
January 25th
Yes.
is probably the first time that action could take, so
Okay.
probably makes sense.
Yeah, I'll let him know.
No problem.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is resolution 2023-1 elected officials compensation.
Hey, Chairman, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Next item, resolution 2023-2 designation of polling places and precincts.
Motion to approve 2023-2.
Second.
Yep, motion and a second for approval. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Designation of depositories. 2023-3.
Move to approve resolution 2023-3 as presented.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Resolution 2023-4, planning and zoning fee schedule.
Motion to approve 2023-4.
Second.
Mr. Chairman, has there been any much change in that from last year?
Amber's here.
Yeah, if you look at the resolution that was given to you, the red line shows you what the differences are. So there was a lot of change, yes.
Okay.
Development permits, do you want me to go through them or do you want to just? Development permits, I'm asking for a sign deposit on those because we started doing signs on those like we do with CUPs and changes, zonings, everything else. Building permit fees, we are asking for an increase there, just as everything has gone up. We haven't increased our building permit fees for, I think, 5 years or close to it. So it was time to increase those. We're adding a floodplain development permit application fee. We've never had that before. So it'll be $100, which we're, making it the same as pretty much all of our other permits, but we're getting more of those and I have to spend a lot of time on them. We added, and this was, Bruce asked, we kind of talked about this, the professional services for any outside consultants for plan checking, inspections, commercial plan reviews. Sometimes we're asking people, hey, you need to get somebody professional to look at those. So we just added it into our stuff and it says whatever the cost is incurred. Sometimes we have to get something else. We can put that cost back if we need to. Preliminary plats, those were never in, I don't know why, but we never had them on here. So I'm not increasing the fees, but Bruce thought we should probably include them on the fee schedule. They weren't on there before. So that was it.
The reason I asked, I didn't have any red line. I was online.
It's because you have a black and white copy.
It could be, yeah.
Even in the drive, there's no color on it.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Well, there we go. It's black and white. You didn't get a color copy.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
And I'm out. I didn't have to be here today.
All right. Resolution 2023-5 inmate incarceration fee schedule.
Move to approve as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. It's hard for a fat kid to keep doing this and keep signing, Bruce.
Okay.
All right,
Number 6.
2023-6 indigent burial.
Motion approved.
Second.
2023-6.
Second.
Was that a second?
Yep.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Bruce, quit confusing.
Designate legal newspaper.
Mr. Chairman, this might take quite a debate.
I can't make the motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the ones that were listed in.
Like-
Information.
Like his painting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Board of Adjustment, appoint Board of
I
Adjustment.
make a motion that we approve the county commission as the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Appoint Building Code Board of Resolution.
I'll make a motion to appoint the planning and zoning board as the building code board of res, or is it planning and zoning board?
County
Did I say,
commission.
oh, did I say, okay, county commission. As the building code board
Okay,
of
we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Approve volunteer firefighter search and rescue members.
Move to approve the list as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. 2023 wages, scales, and longevity pay.
If I might ask a question, this is the ones we approved during the budget, so this is already in place. I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 wages, scales, and longevity pay
Effective 1/1.
to 2023.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Cell phone per diem.
Move approval of suggested per diem.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Designate sheriff's office positions.
Move approval. Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Sheriff's deputies and correctional officers per diem.
Move to approve as presented.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Set mental illness board compensation.
They get, Chairman, they get paid the same as the court appointed attorneys, which is at $107 for the year of 2023.
Same as it was last year.
No, it was 101 last year.
Okay. Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The observed holidays.
Isn't it normally we follow the governors, except there's been a couple times where she's added a couple.
I can tell, if I may, Chairman,
Go ahead.
I can tell you what we did. The motion was last year was to follow the list of holidays that are listed in our personnel handbook under Article 7 of the personnel manual, and giving the chairman authority to act on any additional holidays appointed by the President of the United States, the Governor of the State of South Dakota for state employees, or County Commissioner of Lawrence County for public fast, administrative leave, Thanksgiving, or holiday may be observed as legal.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Further discussion.
So, Mr. Chairman, has Christmas Eve always been in there?
We added that. Yeah, we
A
added.
year or two ago?
Yeah, when we did the first,
Okay.
well, no, we
Last-
actually did an amendment to this. Without looking, I don't know for sure, but it was in 2020 is when we adopted this. So we added day after Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve to this.
Those two.
That way it was,
Thank you.
Brendan?
I don't know if we want to have this discussion now, but I think both by the president and the governor, they put Juneteenth in, which is not on that. Want to keep it wording the way it is. It is now.
Last year we did not recognize it.
But they decided, it seemed like it was kind of last minute before we caught that. Do we
if
want to?
we did decide to do that, I have to do up a resolution amending the personnel
Okay.
manual.
So at this time, we'll just do it this
Yes.
way.
If it's something you want me to bring at the next meeting, I can bring that resolution, amending that and adding that day. It's up to you guys. I can surely do that.
Okay, well, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Board committee appointments, that's good. All right, you guys have the list in front of you. The first one is Ag Committee, which is not active. If we have to resurrect it, we will at that time. Natural Resource Committee.
Mr. Chair, if I could note that Sherry Smith and Ron Mueller are new proposed members, and they have both submitted either an attached resume or a letter of interest that's been included in your packets. Everybody else is sort of an incumbent. I guess we did learn today that number 7 on your list, Aaron Thompson, has apparently moved out of state. And so I don't know if he should be appointed again or not.
Okay, what's your pleasure, gentlemen?
Aaron is temporarily out of the country. He's planning on coming back in February or March, and I don't know what his plans are after that.
I would suggest that we don't appoint Aaron, and when he comes back, if he's still interested, he could reapply.
Okay, so you want to remove him at this
Yeah,
time?
at this time.
How many people would be a good committee group there? We got 11 on there. Is that number, a good number to get business accomplished? What do you think? You think, I've been to some of those meetings that didn't seem very productive to me.
Well, I like the diversity of it. I think that with all the things we have going on right now, there's a lot of different expertise here that they bring value to the table. And we're down to 10 without Aaron. And I am interested in staying on.
Richard, are you interested in
Yeah,
staying
I'd
on
be
as well?
willing to stay on.
Okay, well, you want to pick one of these individuals then to stay at 11, or what's the pleasure?
If we be at 10, if we put all of them on except for Mr. Thompson. Yep. If you want it on, we'd be at 11, right?
We got 12. And 11, right?
Dead silence is horrible. I can't make a motion, gentlemen. Somebody's got to, as they say, get out the pot here. Further discussion?
I would move to approve 10, including Sherry B. Smith and Ron Mueller. And then the other incumbents.
And take Mr. Thompson off for now.
Take Thompson off for now till he returns.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. All right. Wildlife Recreation and Tourism is not active at this time. Brings us down to the Fair Board. And Cheryl Pittman has shown interest to remain on there.
Has she?
Yes, she's your incumbent.
So I'll make a
Does a
motion
good
to
job.
approve.
Who,
Unless, are you interested in Fair Board at all?
Not particularly.
Then I'll make a motion to reappoint Commissioner Sleep, reappoint Commissioner Ewing, and reappoint Cheryl Pittman. Since that's the openings we have, correct?
is that okay with you, Commissioner Sleep?
I've been in there a long time. If somebody else wants to try it, it's fine with me.
Yeah, sure, Commissioner Jennings?
Sure.
All right, did we have a second on that?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I was, had a question for clarification, Mr. Chairman. Was that Mr. Sleep as the primary and Ewing as the alternate, or the other way around?
Correct. Like it's written.
Okay, thank you.
Richard,
I tried, Richard.
Richard does a fantastic job. Lawrence County Housing. Brandon, are you interested in staying on that?
I would, unless another board member, other commissioner wants that spot.
I would take that spot if I could.
And I would nominate the two existing, well, it'd be Randy Dybert in place of me, and Jackie as to reappoint to her spot.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Well, was yours a motion?
Further discussion?
Either way.
All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Insurance Committee.
Randall was on.
I would be willing to take that one.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion
Aye.
will say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Invasive species. I would be willing to stay on as the commissioner. And Clint Ridley did say he would be interested in staying on, correct?
From Dave, yes, for District 2.
And Marlo is,
Be in place of Lee.
yeah.
Yes. And then an alternate as county commissioner.
I would be an alternate if no one else.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to reappoint Clint Ridley, to appoint Marlo Capsa, Commissioner Sleep, and Commissioner Ewing to the Invasive Species Board.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mental illness. I think Jackie and I graciously agreed to stay there.
Yeah, and I should add, there's a little bit more to that. There is some training that should be done as well. Looking at the statute, I think it's a video, I'm not exactly sure.
Motion to approve with extra schooling.
Second right away.
Surprise.
Way to volunteer.
Was there a second?
Yes, I second that, absolutely.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Mountain Pine Beetle's not active at this time. Planning and zoning. I would like to remain on there if that's all right with the board.
Mr. Chairman, Travis Shank expressed interest in serving another term.
Yeah, he'd like to stay on.
Just so
And
you know, he emailed me because he thought he missed the planning and zoning meeting today.
Oh.
I said, no, he's gotta be reappointed for call.
and Megan made it to our last meeting and
She
seems to
would
be
like to stay on if
very interested.
you're okay
So
with that.
Mr. Chairman, I should note too, as you can see from your list, that Tim Comer has also expressed interest, as well as Ron Mueller, and they have either a resume or a tax letter of interest.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Eric, do you have any interest in being on?
I do not.
Okay. Mr.
I,
Flanagan?
I talked to,
No, I still have, I don't think I would be a good member on that board, having history in that office.
Okay.
So I would make the motion that we reappoint Commissioner Ewing, alternate Richard Sleep, reappoint Megan Byram, and reappoint Travis Shank. And thank them for their current and continuing service.
Julia Stone is the one, she went off this year.
correct.
didn't want to go in. Tim Comer has a mining background and been active in that. That was Julie Stone's strong point there. I always think we should try to help different groups so that we got a cross section of talking and understanding these things.
Did that motion die?
It has.
I would move to appoint Bob Ewing and Richard Sleep as the commissioners. Bob is the primary and Mr. Sleep as the alternate.
Second.
What about that?
I just want to talk about those two right now. That's my
Okay.
motion.
Further discussion? We have a motion and a second on appointing the two commissioners.
Who was the second?
I did.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. We still need to finish the housekeeping on the rest of it.
So we have 4 candidates for 2 positions, correct, Mr. Chairman?
And Travis and Megan have both shown a desire to stay on.
Megan was just a replacement for the last meeting or so. Julie still.
Mm-hmm.
Julie had, I talked to her about it, and she, I think we're going to have a lot of involvement on mining here coming up this year, and that's why I asked her if she had somebody that she would recommend for that position in the mining industry.
Okay.
I didn't include Megan's resume, but just to remind everybody, she is now currently the chairman of the Spearfish City Planning and Zoning Commission as well.
Oh.
Yeah, and I think Rick Tisdale is now our chairman, is on their board, so that doesn't necessarily mean anything, but just to remind you of her background. I think that was some of the impetus why you selected her.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen?
I will make a motion to approve Travis and Megan to reappoint.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Somebody else.
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay.
I'd like to see, Tim on there because of the mining interests and all. The Megan is a commercial appraiser.
Okay. Further discussion. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, looks like it died.
Okay, so you voted nay. You voted nay. What did you guys vote?
No.
No? No? Okay.
I would move to put Megan Byram and Tim Comer on planning and zoning.
Second.
Okay, and a motion and a second. Further discussion?
I think Travis has done a good job himself.
He has.
He represents.
All right, I'm gonna
agriculture well.
do a roll call vote.
Okay.
All
And this
those-
is for Megan and Tim.
Yeah.
Okay. Flanagan,
Yes.
Tybert,
Yes.
Sleep,
No.
Jennings,
No.
Ewing.
No. Travis has been a good board member, and he's shown a desire to be back on there, so that's why I voted no on that. I have nothing against those other folks, but Travis has been a very good member.
Mr. Chair, I would move to appoint Travis Shank and Tim Comer to the Planning and Zoning Board.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Let's do a roll call again.
Flanagan,
Yes.
Tybert,
No.
Sleep,
Yes.
Jennings.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That
Tim
was
Comer and Travis Shank.
Yep. Public defender. Currently, we've got Jackie Pearson, Randy Dybert, Randall Rosenaw. Randall's no longer with us. Randy, do you have a desire to stay on that?
Certainly.
And Jackie has shown an interest as well, I assume?
Yes. Thankfully.
I used to be on that board, and it would unless someone else wants to take it.
I would do it if not.
No, I will also, so it's whoever.
Go ahead.
Well, Mr. Chairman, if there's that much interest, I will bow out and let two others come on.
So Chairman, anyone?
Okay, it looks like we've got Commissioner Jennings, Commissioner
Flanagan?
Flanagan on the docket here.
Okay, so I make a motion, Jackie Pearson, myself, and Commissioner Jennings be appointed to the Public Defender Board.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Lawrence County Revolving Loan Fund. Brandon, you're on there. You have a desire to stay?
I would stay unless someone else wants.
Randall's gone, so we need another commissioner on there.
I'd go back on
Okay.
unless somebody else wants it. Move to approve Flanagan, Dibert, Rosenbaum, Whitlock, and Hoban.
At one time, Whitlock was in question, as he voiced his opinion.
Yeah.
I finally heard from him. Yep.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Black Hills Council. Currently it's Randy and Richard.
I would like to be on there, Chairman.
Commissioner Dibert, you want to stay?
No, go ahead.
I would be on unless you want to try it out. Okay, so I'll nominate Commissioner Sleep and myself for Black Hills Council.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
What's the second?
Who's the alternate, who's the primary?
I didn't catch the second.
I'm assuming that.
I made the motion.
I'll take the second.
Yeah.
I thought
Did
we
you want
had-
Somebody give it to
primary
me.
or alternate?
Doesn't matter to me, I can go. I'll go as a primary.
You're the
Okay.
primary? Okay.
KSC board, Randall Rosna.
Did we vote on that?
We did.
Okay, thank you.
Didn't we?
I don't
Yep.
think so.
Well,
I don't
we'll do
think
it
we
again. Bruce said we did. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Richard is primary, Brandon is alternate.
Yes. We beat that one to death. JSC board.
We need LAPC first, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I will volunteer for that unless someone else wants it.
So move.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we'll do the JS.
Move to appoint Ewing and Dean.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Library board. Currently it's for sleep with no alternate.
I've been on there quite a while. If someone else desired, I'd appreciate it.
Mr. Jennings, do you have a desire?
Move
sit
to
on
put Eric Jennings on the the library board.
Second.
that? Okay, further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion
Aye.
carried. Scrivener's Economic Development. Currently, we've got Randy and Richard. Randall is the second alternate. Wow.
Mr. Chairman, it's time for new blood on there.
I've been on it before. I would go back on it, but I have been on it a number of years on and on.
Move-
As a primary.
Move to appoint Flanagan as the prime, Jennings as the alternate, and Sleep as the second alternate.
Second.
We have a motion in a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We did with economic development. Currently, that's Mr. Diver.
I could do that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Forest multiple use. I would have a desire to sit on that one.
It's primary.
Either way.
I'd like
Be alternate.
I'd like to be on it, if I may. As an alternate.
Motion to approve Commissioner Ewing as primary, Commissioner Dybert as the alternate.
Okay.
Second.
All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Division of Forestry.
Motion to have the chairman and the emergency manager be the contact for people for the Division of Forestry.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Western Community Action. Ida Marie has confirmed that she'll remain.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Hazardous Materials Coordinator.
Motion for Paul. Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, we are done with that.
Mr. Chairman, the next thing on the agenda is
Open positions.
regarding utilization.
You have an update on that?
There have been no applicants for the director position, which closes on January 20th. There have been 2 applicants for the appraiser position, which closes on February 10th.
Okay, well, we still have a little time left. So we'll be hopeful that some folks will come forward. Sheriff Dean.
Mr. Chairman, given the short turnaround since our last meeting, I don't have any updates for you. Should have something.
No? Any other problems or issues? Everything going smoothly? Commissioner Diver.
At what point will the city start maintaining their road up at the safety center?
I don't know the answer. I'll check.
Contractors doing it now.
I think Tim's doing it. Well, the contractor's doing it when it's heavy lifting.
Okay.
But Tim has done some of the work.
I just think we need to work out when that date would start. That's correspondence with the opening. I don't have a problem with that. It is their road.
Okay.
I just want Alan.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Oh, it's city vehicle, city streets. So once that gets
Is Alan out in the?
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're down to Alan. If he's here.
Oh,
There he is. Little short timer.
Oh, I need to sign this?
You're up, Mr. Monoman.
I thought you wanted a cut.
Did you think we just invited you so you could settle down and rest? Welcome.
Well, good morning.
You have the floor, sir.
It's got some sass in him this morning.
My last. Approach permits, utility permits, building flats.
Don't have any approach permits.
Well, hang on a minute. The next item is, I gotta take.
That's what I was waiting for. Was
that it?
Wait.
Did I pass? All right.
You were what?
Is
Is there any other? We need to do this. I'll leave it down. Next on the agenda was.
Yeah, anything wrong.
I'll be right with you.
You terminated.
I did.
I guess that should be.
I know last year.
Yeah, let's take a break,
Been
Mr.
that.
Chairman. Let's take a break while you're on.
Okay, 5-minute break.
All right.
Ready?
Stretch.
More attorneys than anybody here.
Glad they came out. fix that sign up there, turn off the house there, but Mill Creek Road sign, they must have knocked it down. Blade and snow. I saw it over, so now the roads. So we come back, we fix the sign. There's a couple of rollers about this big around. Street lights there to the north of that. And Scott rolled off and did into the pub.
And then some.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty much expected.
It could be anyway. It's really as much as.
Better write that down.
Lucky swallow that, so
That was coming.
Hey, I didn't say anything. I speak out of it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting deal there.
Good work. At class.
Now they're on break.
Oh, we got a Brenda here now.
And Randy.
What? Yeah, it seems like they're just all the same people on multiple boards.
Somebody who's online, you're not muted. Can you please mute yourself? It looks like it's Tom. Please.
All
right, we'll come back to order. Jackie, I'm not gonna get too rowdy here, but we want to thank you for your 10 great years with our county. We think you've done a fantastic job. We're confident of your replacement, and thank you for your participation in that. But anyway, we'd like to present this to you, and we will also see you Friday.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One more. Just do
Yeah.
one more.
Act like you like each other.
No hug.
Alan, is your party is Friday from 1:30 to 3:30? Is it at the Highway Shop in Central City?
That's correct.
That's the start of it, and we'll end up there because we got done eventually. Well,
Okay, Alan.
gentlemen, I appreciate it. And it's been a good 10 years. I've been lucky to work with a great bunch of guys here. You've given me support. We've not always agreed on every issue, but hey, 99% of them are.
That's what we liked about you. You were pig-headed.
Working with the whole Lawrence County staff, the auditor's office, can't say enough about the great people here in Lawrence County. Top to bottom. I've been very fortunate, very so I appreciate it.
All right.
Fortunate to work for the best county in the state.
Well, it turned out that way. So anyhow, let's get away all this hoopla.
Draft to the drug jurisdiction resolution is next on our list.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I may, following your last meeting, you had sort of a counter proposal to the proposed resolution to the city, and that was to include, I think, at least 27th Street. Instead of transferring jurisdiction to the county, that the county would work out a maintenance agreement for that. And I did follow up with the city of Spearfish, and I don't know if Alan may have as well. But what I learned is that the city would stand pat on the proposed resolution as presented. They would add that quarter of a mile inside city limits on St. Ange Road, but otherwise they would stick with what's proposed. And again, I would defer to Alan for any other further updates.
They're not interested in entering this agreement on a maintenance basis. They want us to take over full complete jurisdiction of 27th and or Carter Industrial Drive in order for them to take over the mile and a quarter of the St. Ange Road. That's basically bottom line.
This is the gravel part that we've historically taken care of in the past.
Well, it's the gravel part that they hired us to come in and blade it and mag it to
once or twice a year. I guess thinking on this after our last meeting, I know I was part of the group that got us to this point as far as this negotiation on these terms. But I have to agree with Commissioner Dybert on the, I said have to.
This is being recorded.
The fact that we're taking over a road within the city limits, we're kind of defeating the whole purpose of what we started, what our plan was to do in the first place. So as far as making a recommendation, you're always wanting my recommendation. And I guess at this point in time, with much trepidation on this, thinking on this for the last 2 weeks. And I visited with John about it because it affects in the future what he's going to have to, do and put up with. 27th Street, there's going to be a lot of growth out there with housing developments and it's in the city limits. It would only make sense to leave that portion in the city limits as a city street. So they are the ones that have to determine the approach permits, the entrance points on there for the future development.
What's your pleasure on it, gentlemen? We could either vote on it to accept or reject, or maybe go back to them and say that there's the board has a different desire, maybe try to renegotiate. What would you gentlemen like to do?
I'll make a motion we approve the superintendent's recommendation.
I'll second that.
Okay, further discussion. Commissioner Flanagan.
I appreciate the input of the highway superintendent. I would say that I believe that both he and Commissioner Dybert have excellent points. I think this addresses the several of the paved streets that lie within the city limits that need to be taken over by the city of Spearfish, that once were the city of Spearfish's to deal with themselves, that are more likely to have approach permits pulled off of them because they are paved and in more of a development zone. And to go back to what had at one time been county roads that we turned over with the airport. Gravel, we have the equipment to take care of it. We have the equipment to improve it. And then look at rectifying those issues down the road. At least then we have some of the other roads that are paved in the city limits we transferred over, and some that have potential in the future to be developed. We'll have some more time to work with them and with the city to get that adjusted back if we sign this agreement. Again, there's been a lot of work done to try to get something to move. We're back where we've been for the last 8 years. If we say no, again, I don't think it's a great agreement, but I don't think either side is going to be happy with this. Therefore, I think it's probably the right thing to do for now.
Well, Commissioner Flanagan makes some great points. Sometimes compromise is needed, but I guess my thought would be not to vote on this today and to reach out one more time.
That's why I brought that up. But we have a motion and a second sitting here on the floor unless they want to retract them.
I'll retract the motion.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay, well, we'll try to get in contact with them again. And yeah, I don't want to lose any ground either. We're, I guess, getting along quite well right now, and I would be willing to try to reach out and see if we can meet with them again real soon.
I think, Mr. Chairman, if you're willing to do that, it's important to have the chairman there.
Mr. Chairman, did you plan on contacting the mayor then directly? You want me to do it?
I thought you were going to do it.
Just making sure.
Thank you. So we're putting it on hold for a little bit.
Yeah, move to continue this discussion to the our next meeting.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Did you have further discussion?
Well,
Richard?
I was just gonna say that I think that's the way to go, but I think that the city knows that we're not, needs to know that we're not really in favor of doing some things too.
Yeah, I think they're probably gonna get that
The
message.
message comes both ways.
You know, even if we had a sub-agreement set when that would be taken,
Mhm.
any development on that piece would be taken, or anytime development is on that piece, they would automatically take it. That could be another document. Then we would set the guidelines for that trigger.
That was gonna be phase 2 of the discussions that we were gonna start in earnest in January, but they were trying to get, the goal was to try to get phase 1 done. Sure.
Okay. Further discussion on the Tinton Road.
Well, I believe, I think we touched a little bit last meeting. I handed out a printout. I put together a little bit of a cost estimate for the discussion purposes for this meeting. I've met with the Forest Service and I gave them a list of stipulations that I would highly encourage this board to consider before taking over the Tinton Road. And the number one would be getting the right of way along that road, dedicated right of way to the county, so that when something happens, you don't have to go through their process to go out there and put up a sign or dig a new culvert. And my second stipulation, part of that stipulation, was to remove all trees over a 6-inch diameter within that new right of way. And I'm recommending a 50-foot right of way from center of road out each side. That'll clear the corridor of the road for sight distance for the people traveling up and down the road. They'll be able to see traffic coming further ahead, number one, so it's a safety issue. Number two would be removing those trees, gets rid of the shaded, helps get rid of some of the shaded areas on that road, and allows the sunlight to hit and melt some of that snow and ice pack that is on that road all winter long. It helps with that. So those were my two biggest stipulations. And the Forest Service, I don't know if there's a representative here today from the Forest Service. They didn't say no to it. They thought at first that it was possible that they would agree to that, but I know we're not to that point at this time. But we also have some representatives from Aspen Hills here today and the Timbers, and I think they would like to say, let's hear what's on their minds as well.
If whoever would speak would please state your name and your address, please.
Thomas Fitch, F as in Frank, ITCH, 1939 Astor Road in Aspen Hills. And I'm the Secretary Treasurer for the Aspen Hills Road District. And we appreciate very much the opportunity to speak today. At Commissioner Divert's suggestion several months ago, we formed a working group with the county and the Forest Service to discuss how to improve safety on Tinton. That's the sole reason for us being here and for addressing the issue. Both in the summer and in the winter, it has unique challenges. As residents of Aspen Hills, we're just very concerned with the safety aspect. We're very pleased with the discussions and the progress that we've made so far. And so when we met with the Forest Service, there was really good discussion about the potential way ahead to transfer responsibility of the road, and then also potential for funding in out years to be able to do some of the improvements, and we provided that to Mr. Bonema as well. And so from the perspective of a resident, we would very much appreciate the Commission's approval to move forward with the discussion and the next steps so that we can improve the safety and growth for all the residents.
Okay.
Sure. Jeff Jones, I'm president of the road district, Aspen Hills. Basically everything that Tom said, it is a big safety issue. In the meetings with the Forest Service, the two gentlemen that were there did say they would not drag hills or stand in the way of possibly working forward to get this thing done. So yeah,
appreciate the time and hopefully we can all work together to come up with a safer solution for that area.
Okay, anyone else like to speak to it? Commissioner Diver, did you have a?
Yeah, I like the idea of the 100-foot corridor that Highway Superintendent Bonema speaks of. I think there should also be language in there that we can maintain and repair the drainage and culverts and slopes. There's some areas that the slopes and culverts and drainage are outside the 50 feet either side. And we need to be able to get on those slopes to maintain them if something wouldn't happen, or the drainage and culverts. So.
And that 50 foot is, that's a minimum. I mean, maybe you would like to see 75. Maybe you want more than 50 foot out. But that's something that we'd have to, the commission's gonna have to determine and let the Forest Service know what your final wishes are for a dedicated corridor along that road parade.
Commissioner Sleep.
I think we need to talk to the Forest Service and get some more, and that I travel on that road a lot, all the time, and safety is a big concern. The faster the traffic goes on the road, the worse it's going to be. My opinion.
The smoother the road is, the faster the traffic.
That's right.
Drive it, and it will affect the safety aspect of it.
That's my concern, because there's a lot of younger people driving.
Right now, you can't drive very fast.
No, well, that's there's really a detriment, but it's a good thing too. It's got its plus and minuses there in the speed. But I hate the ripples on that, but it does keep people in check. And there's still a lot of accidents there.
Commissioner Diver.
Yeah, if I have a question for the sheriff. Sheriff Dean, if we take this road on and we post the speed limits, does that create more work for your department, or do you already enforce it, or what's your thoughts?
I think it's likely that it would create more work for us, but I don't think that that's what we do for a living, so I don't think that would be a reason. Sway your vote.
Do you already have the ability to enforce speed limits with some of those flashing signs help in some of those areas while we're waiting for this to be resolved?
Honestly, one of the problems in putting that equipment up there is it tends to get shot.
Well, I myself, I'm not ready to move forward on this. I think it's in its infancy. I certainly keep the discussion open at this time. But I certainly don't want to make any set in stone decisions today. That's my opinion. Commissioner Jennings, what do you think?
I agree with that. Yeah, I think we're pretty early on in the process here. With Mr. Bonham, I agree with it. It's important to have a corridor. The Forest Service hands are tied often with legal work they have to get done, and so being able to somehow have an easement there so we could avoid going through the NEPA process, it's going to make it possible to maintain the road and outside the road and the drainages. So I think that's a very important aspect before we move forward, because we don't, if we did make the decision to take this road on, we would need to have the ability to do it right. Yeah. And we don't want to have to be going through the Forest Service or the NEPA work to get that done. Has there ever been the question or the Forest Service offered to provide materials to gravel that road to start with?
In our discussion we've had so far, no. One of the things, the Forest Service has a different spec for gravel than what needs to be put on that road. Their gravel spec is basically a rock spec, a clean rock spec. It has very little binder in it. That's why the road is always washboardy. And the gravel, the material that's on the road right now is completely wore out. It's dusted out. That's why it never stays packed down. You can blade that road after a rain, and it may stay good for a couple of hours. But, yeah, I mean, it turns loose right away. You got to get that material that they have and get it incorporated down underneath into the road grade itself, the bed, and then come along and put some good material on the top of it to get it
held, so there, when they crush material gravel, it really doesn't meet our surface gravel.
It's a base course.
It's on the base course.
Okay, I want to ask the permission from you gentlemen if we could take a quick break. The judge is here to swear those people in. So if you don't mind, Alan, we'll kind of put a little stop here and go into recess for 5 minutes or so to take care of this. I think the judge is outside to do this area. You'll need to go out.
Mr. Flanagan.
Coming in here, Judge. Yeah, we've got other officials.
Oh, sure. Registrar?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Commissioner Jennings. Yeah, down here. There, I can see everybody's face now. Are these all the people that we're doing right here?
No, it's not like
Okay.
Richard, you can be over there too.
How are you?
Thank you. You say I look like the Joker. I want to look for it.
What we shoot for?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If you all please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of South Dakota against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or for the purpose of evasion. And that I will faithfully and impartially perform the duties of the office of according to law and to the best of my ability. So help me God.
If y'all sign and then the judge will
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A new man.
What's this?
Oh, I did the update. My buddy of mine.
Thank you. It's official. Yeah. Gotta put up with it 2 more years. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge. All right, we'll come back to order, and Commissioner Divert, you had some conversation you wanted to share?
Yeah, I think that the conversation is going well between the group, and I would hope that our new highway superintendent can continue the conversations, present the guidelines if we do take it over, what the terms would be. I would add in there that there's utilities in that corridor, and I'd like to see the agreement for the utilities and to see if they would be moved at the utility company's expense if road construction requires it. And that's goes quite a ways down the road. I don't know if we can achieve that, but that's another thing we haven't discussed. So even though we're not saying yay or nay, when we need the information to make a good decision.
There's a lot of parts to this puzzle
Yep.
that need to be put together
Oh,
before
yes.
we get to that decision.
And we need to keep exploring those. So,
At our last meeting with them, though, they did indicate they wanted to keep jurisdiction of all of that as far as utilities and approaches. That the Forest Service would not relinquish ownership of this property, even if they do grant us an easement or right of way. They have no desire to relinquish the ownership of the property.
Mr. Chairman? So John or Alan, is it essentially going to be like Maitland Road would be, where we consider, or at least part of that is a Forest Service road, but we consider it to be part of our system road? Is that a good example for us to look at?
I think so.
Tinton Road, or that's obviously Tinton Road, Maitland Road.
Well, that's what I'm trying to avoid. If you remember on Maitland Road a few years back, we had a project and it was held up for 2 years by the Forest Service doing their studies. And by having this dedicated right of way, that's why I'm saying I'm calling it dedicated right of way, county right of way, that we can avoid having to go through all of their hoops that they have to do under federal law. So if we could obtain this right of way, we can avoid all of that. But that process would be a long, cumbersome process on their part. There's no doubt that it's going to take years to probably to do it.
That's a congressional action, Chris. I'm guessing.
Alan, is there another option? I don't know. To add Tinton Road to our Schedule A. Currently, we traverse Tinton Road to get up to roads that we maintain up to the north or to the south, I guess, up by Iron Creek. Is that an idea as well, so that we actually have authority to plow snow on the road?
Well, right now we have no agreements, Schedule A or Schedule B agreements with the Forest Service on any of them. And that is something that the Forest Service really desires us to have. But since the 231 debacle, we've been very reluctant about getting involved in these Schedule A agreements with the Forest Service. And the other thing that I'm worried about is if we enter into a service agreement, will our insurance pay for if there's an accident out there because of the road, the condition of the road? Is our insurance company going to pay for that if there's a claim against the county because of the accusation or the assumption that the county's lack of maintenance or work done on that road in the service agreement caused the accident? These are legal issues that I can't answer.
Commissioner Levitt.
well, we maintain the piece of road that goes down into Iron Creek, which is across Forest Service, right? Don't we have the same exposure there?
Correct. Some of that from the Beaver Creek Road is Forest Service.
So we're already maintaining one at that same risk.
We are maintaining
And we don't have an A or B schedule on that road or an agreement?
because it's a secondary county secondary. It's not on a Schedule A or B. It's a designated county secondary.
And then how about the road that goes into the town of Tinton? What's the name of that one? I'm sorry. One that disconnects, the one from Iron Creek.
222. The Beaver Creek.
Yeah.
That
We
is
just
not-
have a snowplow
we just
agreement.
plow the snow.
Okay, well, we obviously need a lot of further discussion on this. Commissioner Sleep?
And the road going into the lake, the county used to own the lake, so that's how that originated. I don't know if the maintenance stuff was transferred to the state or not. Would be surprised if it was.
Okay. We'll continue down the road with further discussion on that. And we are down to 123rd
123rd
Avenue.
Avenue and 195th Street, section line fence dispute.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, Mr. Tellinghausen is here and Mr. Neese are here representing their respective clients. I'll note that you should have received in your packet a letter from Mr. Tellinghausen dated December 21 that lays out the essential elements of the discussion here today, and I guess with the chairman's permission, I would refer to Mr. Donahue.
Okay. Roger, you want to come up and tell us what you're up to?
Good morning. You mind if I pull a chair up?
Absolutely.
Just a little bit of history here. Back in early 2021, prior to April 18th of 2021, I appeared before the commission on behalf of Mike Anderson and Bruce Kessler to get the county's permission and authorization to improve a stretch of section line that provided access to their property. County agreed to that, and pursuant to that agreement, we prepared a written agreement, which we submitted to the county. I think subsequent to that, Michael and Bruce went in and put in the improvements to that section line, culverts and ditches, etc. I think subsequent to that, Bruce, maybe you and Alan went out and viewed the property.
Before that,
Okay. Nonetheless, everything was going swimmingly until just recently. Some neighbors put a fence across that section line, and it's an electric fence. And they have provided a manual gate to open. But it's our position that, first of all, they can't do that without permission of the county. County has jurisdiction over that section line. It's a public highway. And the statute that they're relying upon, SDCL 31-25-1.1, specifically says that a landowner may erect a fence across an unimproved section line. Now, the key here is the definition of unimproved, because that's also set out in the statute. It says, for the purposes of this section, an unimproved, and I'm going to just skip ahead of the county section line highway, is any section line not commonly used as a public right-of-way and never altered from its natural state in any way for the purpose of facilitating vehicular passage. Now, the particular fence that they put across this is an electric fence, which we submit poses a danger in and of itself to the public that may be traveling down that road. And Mr. Anderson is here today and can attest to having observed someone on either a snowmobile or a motorcycle, I don't remember which, going down that section line road, and had the gate not been opened by Mr. Anderson because he'd gone through, could have posed a real danger to that person on that vehicle. We don't object to a cattle guard being put in by the bailiffs, the adjoining landowners. But we don't believe that should be at our expense. My clients went to the expense of improving that section line consistent with the county's authorization. And that's where we're at, Mr. Chairman. Be happy to answer any questions. And Mr. Anderson's here too.
if I may, Mr. Chairman, referencing the statute that Roger referenced as 31-25-1.1, I note that at the bottom of the statute that it makes a violation of that statute to be a property misdemeanor. So I would pose it to Roger and Eric. It looks to me like that this is a criminal statute. And so I don't know that the county commissioners have the ability to adjudicate this. It looks to me like it would be a matter to be submitted to the sheriff's office for investigation, and then probably sort of a request made to the state's attorney's office for possible prosecution is how I look at it. And alternatively, I note 31-25-1, which talks about a petition being submitted to the county commissioners. And to me, it sounds like kind of what we're talking about here today, where I think the Balos, if they're the owners of the property with the fence, would submit an application to the commission. And under those terms, the county commission will hold a public hearing, give notice, and then could adjudicate whether or not that fence could go across the road. I leave it at that for discussion.
I have two responses. One with respect to whether or not the county commission has any authority. As you all know, the county has jurisdiction over the highways, including section line highways in this state. That's why we came to the county in the first place, to get the authorization to improve the section line, which we did in good faith pursuant to the county's authorization. Now, I don't dispute what Bruce has said in terms of what the statute provides. It is a class 2 misdemeanor, but we were hopeful that the county commission, with its plenary power over the highway itself would intervene as opposed to requiring us to file a criminal complaint against the Balos. We don't have any interest in doing that. We just want the fence taken down, or alternatively, a cattle guard put in its place. That's kind of where we're at. And as far as the next comment that was made about the Balos petitioning the county to put a fence across this road, that ship has already sailed. We came and we were given authorization to improve this section line. It's a public highway. Any one of us has a right to go down that road. And now that it's been improved, we of course, I think, encourage the public to use that road, as witnessed by Mr. Anderson here not too long ago, with the individual driving down the road who, but for him having, Mr. Anderson having opened and left the gate open, may have been placed in danger of running into that wire across the road.
Chris?
Not to get into an argument today, but referring again to 3125-1, for as follows. However, the Board of County Commissioners shall require the erection of gates or grates or both in such fences at points designated by the board so that the public may have access to the highway. So that statute seems to contemplate both that fences can be up and contemplates public use.
Okay.
And I don't quarrel with that. I mean, I think, yes, the county can authorize a landowner to put a fence across the section. And in fact, the very next statute says that a landowner can put a fence across the section, an unimproved section line. But this one's improved.
Okay,
If I may.
yeah, I want to give you an opportunity. Are you finished, Roger?
I am, thanks.
Okay, come on up, Eric.
Thank you. Eric Neese, we're representing the Balos. Bruce kind of stole my thunder because no, it's okay, because my clients intend to petition for permission under 3525-1 or 31. I believe Roger is right that they need permission from the county commission, and they intend to seek that. Just by way of a little background, there was a fence across it for years. It was taken down when the road was improved, and the parties put it back up, or my clients put it back up, not understanding the deeper legal significance of this. But this fence has been there for a long time. It's not like it was just thrown in there to be a problem. So I would like the commission to be aware that, again, we are going to file a petition for permission to have that fence across the section line. I agree with Bruce and respectfully disagree with Roger. Nothing in 3525-1 says that we can't petition to cross the section line just because it's been improved by a private party. It simply says a section line highway. I don't see anything that talks about improvement. So again, I intend to file. By the way, the Balos own the land on both sides, so they are 100% of the surrounding land owners, which is required in 3125. A couple points. First of all, Roger mentions a cattle guard. I would note that 3125-4 says that if you have a secondary highway, you can put a fence across it with a cattle guard. And I'm going to object to the requirement for a cattle guard right off the bat. This is not a secondary highway. This is merely a section line that's been improved by a private party, been improved with the county permission granted, but it's still not a secondary highway. And if we're going to require my clients to put in a cattle guard, why isn't this just a secondary highway? And I know that's not a road that the commission wants to go down, but if we're going to require my clients to put the money and time in that we would for a secondary highway, I don't think that that's consistent with the statutory scheme. For what it's worth, my clients weren't aware that this was even going before the commission. I'm not saying the commission did anything wrong, but I don't know if it's particularly just or fair to say that the boat has sailed when they didn't have any notice, because they would have been here and they would have objected.
They have no objection to the road being there. They just want to have a fence across it, with a reasonable gate. So I agree that they need county permission. I will be seeking county permission, and I would ask the county, if it's appropriate, go ahead and schedule that public hearing so I can get the petition in and we could move forward. And if at that time I believe it's appropriate to have Mr. Anderson come up to talk, anybody who wants to come up and talk. But procedurally, I believe we have the right to file for that petition first. So the hearing would be, if the commission is so inclined, on, I think the soonest it can be done is January 25th. I could put it at 8:30 that day during Alan's time, or well, John's time, or sometime later. I don't have that up in front of me right now. I think what, if I may, Mr. Chairman, the statute requires, as Eric alluded to, that a petition is submitted and that the auditor's office then has to mail notice to all of the, I think, adjacent landowners, and Eric has indicated that it's his clients, but we would still follow through with that formality, right? Agreed. And I don't know if there's any notice required for the newspaper. It doesn't say that. So I think we could probably accomplish having that hearing on the 25th, assuming that the petition gets submitted in time. But we'd be willing, I mean, I understand the issues, so I'm not trying to delay things. And given the fact that we all are well aware of it, I don't think the petition has to be very long. But that is something that we can submit very fast.
You're all right with that time frame?
Yes, we are.
Commissioner Dybert, you had.
I would move to go into executive session under STCL 1-25-2-3.
And before you do that, may I respond to Mr. Reese? That's a good question. Mr. Chairman, a couple of remarks real quick. I don't dispute that the Baylors could file a petition to ask permission to put a fence across the section. But the circumstances have changed significantly when we came to you almost 2 years ago, sought permission, and in reliance upon that permission, went in and spent a bunch of money to improve that road. That's been done. My clients incurred that expense, not the Baylors. So if the commission is inclined to allow Baylors to put some kind of gate across that road that my clients improved, we would strongly request that you inquire them to put in a cattle guard. That being one of the options that's available. Now, granted, this isn't a secondary road, but that doesn't mean you can't require that the Baylors, if they want to put a gate in, don't put in that they have to put in a cattle guard. I would also mention to you that despite what Eric has said about his clients owning both sides of the road, my client disputes that. They do not own both sides of the road, according to Mr. Anderson. The east side of the road is owned by a gentleman by the name of Dave Wilson, what I'm told. Is that right? No, that's correct. So with that,
Do we have a
let you go
second?
into.
Yes, second for executive
Okay,
session.
all those in favor of going into executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Chairman, would you like me to stay?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you want me to stay? I guess not.
You want me to say?
Yes. You're part of it. Unless you guys don't think it's necessary to stay. It's fine.
Isn't there Tom? Who's Tom?
It's still pretty. Okay.
Hold on one second.
What do you, is it this?
Yep,
Randy, you
yep.
initiated this.
Wait, hold on 1 second.
Let me get offline first.
I'm gonna That's right. Let's get a number to-
Where'd Randy go? Sandbox?
He's chatting.
You could spend a lot of time out there.
Is he out there just?
Bruce is trying to wrangle him up.
Senator-elect is on his way.
Okay. We're open again. Roger, you have some comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. During the commission's executive session, Eric Neese and I have had an opportunity to visit between he and I and our respective clients. And what we'd like to ask the commission to do is to just put this matter up on hold, if you will, for a couple of months till we get into the springtime. And in the meantime, both parties have agreed to meet in good faith and try and come up with a solution that they can both agree to.
You sure you
Whether it
weren't
be-
listening in on it? Because that's basically where we're at.
Okay, well, good. Whether it involves a cost share on a cattle guard or a cost share on an auto gate of some sort that would not require somebody to get out of a vehicle to open it, to go through it. Those are options that we're
on the same
willing
page.
to look at and try and come up with a solution.
Thank you.
to. So with that, if it's, that's what we
Absolutely
have.
exactly what I hoped was.
Commissioner Diver.
I think that you might check on whether there's a third party too.
We
Yeah.
think there is, yeah, he was right with that.
Because they might be another possible financier.
Well, hard to say. I don't know. Yeah.
Right. Mr. Chairman, if I can summarize, this matter will be put on hold and we'll take no further action unless until we probably would receive a petition from one of the parties, and at that time there'd be an agreed to hearing date. So you guys would have that scheduled mutually. Is
I
that
think
fair?
it'd either be a petition from Eric's clients or a letter from me telling you that we haven't been able to come to an agreement and ask you to take this matter up again. So
Well, it sounds like you huddled up very well so far.
Good work.
Thank you.
reasonable minds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Do we have, Alan has more business?
Yep, here he is. He's here.
I believe, I don't think I have anything else on the agenda. So done with me,
Alan's last meeting.
I'll say farewell.
Thank you, everyone.
We'll see you Friday. Some of us will. Isn't that when we're gonna do the roast?
The roast.
Yeah.
The roast.
I'll make one comment. I won't be here on Friday, unfortunately. I would like to be here for that, but I want to say, I really think that you've left the county better than you found it, and in better shape for the success of the next superintendent than we've had in the past, in years past.
No, I sure hope so.
You have.
I sure
You have. Yeah, we appreciate it.
Randy, Mr. Diver.
I won't be here Friday either. I'll be in Pier. But
This was kind of a short notice deal. I wasn't gonna have anything but cake and ice cream at the shop in the afternoon, but I got overruled on that, so.
because your people.
Did we issue a brown bag?
So I just want to say that I don't understand how someone my age can retire and leave us when we need them so desperately. But I'm sure John will do a great job.
Must have been poor planning on your part.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
I
Alan.
thank you, John, guys.
We expect fishing invitations.
We're down to items from the public. Anyone in the public want to make any comments?
Tom is online. I'm not sure who that is. Tom, did you have any comments?
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
Apparently not. Okay.
Okay, items from commissioners.
Most to adjourn.
I had. Go ahead.
Right at the end of the year, the Biden administration released a new proposed rule on waters of the United States. It's a little bit of a surprise considering they have a Supreme Court case pending right now, Sackett versus US, I think it is. That the question is, how do you define waters of the United States? So it impacts the county because of drainages as they cross roads. So it's something that we're going to have to be aware of and be cognizant of.
Okay, thank you for that.
Did I send out all that information from NACO and WIR to the group?
I haven't seen it.
The,
Something of nature, I don't remember exactly what it was.
they gathered all the information on it, made some nice summaries. I'll send that out so you can read it because it's a little easier read than the document.
And so that was the new document that they already
Yeah, they-
gone through, because it was 400 and something.
Yeah, they had some comments to it, and they're going to have their public lands meeting coming up. I'll dial you into that so you can listen. That's part of the WIR. Speaking of which, we had both states, all the counties in the forest had a great meeting the other day led by the state forester. It talked about the bill that's coming to legislature for moral and financial support. I really feel we got a lot of traction in that group. Bruce, were you in on that meeting we had?
I don't think I think I missed that one, the last one.
But we've got a lot of consolidation at the congressional level, the state level, and the county level. So good news. Oh yeah, and then if you look at that local assistance, it's interesting how counties without any public lands still got about $100,000.
That's your drawer, isn't it?
No, I've got mine.
It was
Randall's? Then this
It was
is
Randall's.
your drawer now. Yours stays put.
So we're adjourned.
Yes, we are.
You grab my drawer out of there.
Uh,
Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording now.
I think you can keep the drawer you got here, right? I don't.
That's Richard's drawer, so it'd be up to Richard.
No, we switched